Okay. So, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. So, I welcome you back to the second live session of this week. So, in today's session, we are going to talk about the goals of computer network. So, the goals of computer network, which have been mentioned here. So, let us start. So, any subject matter of study which has an overarching goal. Well, the goal of computer network is to enable the efficient and the scalable communication. Now, what do you mean by efficient communication? So, communication as such is about sending the message, and the efficiency metric it captures the things like designing the system such that you can send this message as fast as possible, or in other words, send it in the lowest possible delay, or maybe designing the system such that you send the message the cheapest, that is, at the lowest cost. Now, for example, in the postal system, you have express mail, which provides the fastest service, and you have regular mail, which provides the cheapest service. So the postal system, it provides both features. So can you think of any other efficiency metric that we can use to identify the efficiency and the efficiency within the network? So the one answer could be the energy. So energy can be another efficiency metric that sends the message by consuming the least possible energy. Then we'll go to the next goal of the computer network, that is robustness. So what is robustness? Is there any answer? What is robustness? So robustness in the context of computer network, it refers to the delivery of message. So in spite of failure, how you are delivering your message from source to destination. For example, we'll take the same example of postal system. If the postman is sick, or if the boxes get mislabeled, for example, you put a Mumbai label on the box that's supposed to go to Nashik. So finally, the letter do get delivered. Okay, doesn't matter the letter is posted to a wrong address, or it will be delivered to some wrong destination. But in spite of this, we have successfully delivered the letter, right? I'm talking about the delivery of letter. Yes, in this case, in this example, our destination is wrong. Okay, so this is what the robustness against the equivalent that in computer network nodes can fail. That is one of the reason of you can say that uh, this is one of the reason of delay or message that can be get corrupted. This may be the reason. So in spite of all this, you want to ensure that the message reaches to the other end properly. That is, the message should reach to the destination properly. Okay, so we'll go to the third goal of the computer network, a scalable system, okay, or a scalable computer network. So what do we mean by the scalable computer network? So a scalable system, it ensures that as more and more users uses the system, or the more and more data gets sent from source to destination as a part of network, the system still doesn't fail. So that is the scalability. So when the internet protocol were being designed in the 1980s, there were hardly a few hundred nodes, and we have seen as a part of history of computer network. During the ARPANET was designed, only 4 nodes were connected to the ARPA network, right? ARPANET. So at that time, no one would have imagined the size of the internet. Now we have close to billion, and surprisingly, we can see that the internet has been very scalable because the design principle on which it was based were very strong. And there were a few minor problems, but nothing major. So now that we have I mean, we have these grand goals like efficiency, and then scalability and the robustness. So these are some grand goals that we have set or we have decided to achieve the best use of computer network. So how do we go about achieving it? So lot of focus is on technology development. So that is the design of fastest, cheapest, or the most energy efficient routers, links, and the host. Now that these are with respect to the hardware. You just give me a moment. Few students, they are still joining. Let me admit them. Okay. So we'll just wait for 2 minutes to admit these students who are joining. Give me a 2 minutes. So till the time we get back to the presentation, you can recap these slides, what we have seen. So can you just type in the chat box, what are the goals of computer network? What are the goals of computer network? You can type in a chat box. Answer this question. Start writing your answer in the chat box. What are the goals of computer network? What are the 3 major goals of computer network? So Prasanna is saying that resource sharing. No, it's not resource sharing. Yes, scalable. Scalability is one of the goal of computer network. Yes, efficiency in terms of delay and cost is the another goal or the first goal of computer network. And anything else apart from this? What we have talked about, the third goal, protocols or rules that govern the communication. Okay, protocols is actually the software implementation part of the computer network. But okay, let me. Yes, right. I got the right answer. So Bhagyashree has given the right answer. So robustness towards the failure or the error is the one of the goal of computer network. So efficiency, robustness, and the scalability. These are 3 major goals of computer network. Okay, so let me share the presentation again. And please tell me whether it is visible or not. Is it visible? Yes. Okay, that's great. Well, so we were talking about these goals, and now we are going to see that how do we are going to achieve this goal using the computer network. Okay, so a lot of focus is on technology development, that is the design of the fastest, cheapest, or the most energy efficient routers, links, and the host, and that with respect to hardware. When I start the meeting, the students start joining. I don't know what happening. सुरुवातीलाच करायला पाहिजे होतं सगळ्यांना. ऍडमिट करून घ्यायला पाहिजे.
सर
येस
सर ते जॉईन नाही होते.
करतोय मी ऍक्च्युली. मी सगळ्यांना डिनाय केलं होतं, त्याच्यामुळे प्रॉब्लेम झाला तो.
ओके.
कारण तुम्हाला सगळ्यांना कॉलेजचा ईमेल आयडी यूज करायचा आहे जॉईन करताना. लक्षात घ्या इथून पुढे आता. I will allow for this lecture only, but hereafter I am not going to allow anyone during the lecture using personal email ID. Okay. So all these, the focus of the technology development, which was on designing the fastest and cheapest and the most energy efficient routers, links, and hosts. But these are with respect to hardware. But to enable the communication, you need to implement many functionalities. What are these functionality? Alice Azun. Who is Shrutika Badguzar? I think I need to admit all the students during these lectures. What is happening? Give me a 1 minute. Okay, so we'll again resume our presentation. So this is what we have seen with respect to the hardware part, because router, links, and your host, they are specifically using the machines, right? So they are basically a machine, and that with respect to the hardware. So to enable the communication, you need to implement many functionalities. And so these are implemented in the form of protocols. For example, you need to design a protocol that provides the reliability. You need to design a protocol that can help to route the packets, or you need to design the protocol that helps to share the physical media. This physical media is nothing but the link or the communication medium that we are using to connect the source to destination. So this is just a sample. There are many such protocols that we need to enable the communication. Now, each of this protocol, they has a very specific goal. For example, if you are designing the routing protocols, one of the goals could be to minimize the overhead. So what do I mean by this overhead? So basically, overhead means to send a minimum number of message such that you determine that the packet have to pick to go from a source to destination. Okay, so there should be a minimum number of overheads. There should be a minimum number of hops. Okay, for example, there is source A and my destination is machine B, right? And there are so many intermediate routers and links and switches in between, like C, D, E, F, and G, and so on, right? So let's say that there are more than 5 intermediate machines. Now we have to ensure as a part of routing that the packet should reach to the destination from machine A to machine B using minimum hops. That means using minimum intermediate machines. So we have to optimize the path, and lot of path optimizing algorithms are available in a computer network. For to name a few, shortest path routing is one of the widely used algorithm to optimize the path close to destination. Yes.
सर
Ah.
सर ते ना सायली आणि ते जॉईन करताय पण त्यांचं होत नाही सर. त्यांचा मेसेज येतोय की सरांना सांगा.
त्यांना परत जॉईन करायला लाव, मी करतो. प्रियंका
हा.
विद्यार्थी परत जॉईन करायला. I will take 5 minutes break. Let us admit everyone and then we can start. Tell your all the friends to join. Call them or message them to join with their personal user ID, personal email ID. I think nobody's waiting to join the meeting, so I'll resume the presentation. So to enable the communication, we have to use the different protocols, right? So we were talking about the one of the goal of the protocol is one of the types of protocol is routing protocol. Routing protocol, and the goal of the routing protocol is to minimize the overhead. Okay. So now if each of the protocol it achieves its specific goal, then this in turn helps to achieve the overarching goal of the computer network, that is efficient, then robustness and the scalability. So it depends on the protocol, how you design your protocols and how each of these protocol that we are going to use to design the computer network achieve their specific goals. Okay. Well, so now since we are going to cover a whole lot of protocol in this course, so let me spend a little bit more time on describing what the protocol is. So we humans already employ a protocol when we interact with the others. So let me call this as the human protocol. And now let us try to understand this human protocol with some funny example. So I think Vibing the people will relate to best. So we can go to the next slide. Okay. So here is a boy who want to ask a girl up for the coffee. So this is a typical sequence of events that get exchanged between the girl and boy. So boy says hi, the girl says hello. He says, do you want to go to coffee? And she'll say yes or no. So this is one of the scenario. And here is the another scenario. So in this scenario, where the boy says hi and the girl says, I think the girl, we can say that is not interested at all in the boy. So he ignores him. So depending upon how the desperate the boy is, he can say hi again. And if the girl still doesn't reply, then the boy is going to walk away. So what do you think? So this human protocol is defining what this human protocol is defining. So it's these things. One is what to send, basically the format of message, which translates to the human language with its sentence structure, so on and so forth. And the other thing is that it defines when to send and how to act. Okay. So if you see, the boy has asked the question, do you want to go for a coffee? Only after he got the response or the reply from the girl, which showed that she was interested in. Similarly, in the second scenario, the boy walked away only when he concluded that the girl was not at all interested in him. So these are some rules of the protocol, when to send a message or how to act based on the content of the message. My slides are visible to everyone. Can anybody please unmute mic and tell me?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir.
Okay, you can mute yourself now. So the network protocols, they are very similar. All you are doing is replacing the humans with the nodes, and these nodes exchange the messages. So you define a format of all permittable message that you can exchange, and then when you receive the message, you can act on them. Even if you don't receive a message, you may act on them, like this guy where the boy walked away in the second scenario. He sent the first message to the girl, hi. Then he sent the second message to the girl, do you want to go to for the coffee? And when he doesn't receive the reply, the boy walked away. So in this case, the boy is met by a timeout, and he do something else, right? Well, so as a part of course, we are going to cover a whole lot of protocols like DHCP, Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol, TCP/IP, Transmission Control Protocol, as well as the Internet Protocol and the spanning tree. The list is very big. So there are some other protocols as well, ICMP protocol, BGP protocol, so on and so forth. Remember that we were talking about the goals like in real life, that is movies, right? So what are the challenges that we can face when we are trying to achieve these goals? Okay, so the goals, like in real life, what we can relate it with the movies. Okay, we just relate these challenges with respect to movies. So before the hero gets the girl, he has to overcome a lot of challenges which is placed by the villain. So similarly, in a computer network, before you can reach the goal, you have to overcome whole lot of challenges. So the life is full of trade-offs. Okay, the hero has to choose between the girl or his parents. Here in computer network, we choose between either the cost or the delay or energy. So if you want the fastest service, so you should be prepared to pay more. For example, in the postal system, the express mail is going to cost a lot more than the regular mail, but it also delivers the letter fastest. So when you are designing the protocols, the challenge is often in striking the right balance between what your requirements are, right? So there should be a proper balance between all these, the goals that we have put in the first slide. So there should be a proper balance of efficiency, robustness, and the scalability, right? So we want the fastest delivery as well as at the cheapest cost, I mean. So, I mean, do you go for the fastest design at the expense of a lot of money, or you are okay giving up a little bit of speed but at the lower cost? So in computer network, many things can fail. The nodes can die, the links can get corrupted, or the packets can get corrupted due to the problem in the link or the difficulties in the link, or the link because of the disconnection or the faults in the link, the packets may get corrupted or the packet may get lost during the transmission from source to destination. And the processing can duplicate, or the packets can be reordered, or the way that the receiver receives the packet, they may not be in the sequence. So when you are designing this protocol, you need to be able to achieve the desired functionality in spite of all these challenges. Now you design the protocol and everything is working fine, but over the time, host may become much faster, the links will become much faster, and then you will see that you need to revise your protocol. Right, you have to make some modification, you have to make some changes in your existing protocol so as to satisfy the end user's requirement, right? So but once you come up with the new version of protocol which have been modified, there will still be people who are using the older model, in which case your version of the protocol should be backward compatible to them. Okay, so this is another challenge that is typically faced by designing the protocol, that may not work only with the newer system, but it should also work with the older system. So for example, all of you are using the smartphone, right? And what is the latest operating system that you are using? Anyone can unmute and tell me? Anyone can unmute and please tell me. What is the latest Android operating system that you are using in your smartphone? Yes? Am I audible to all? Am I audible to all?
Sir.
Android 10.0.
Android 10.0. Now you just imagine that, can you install this Android operating system 10 on the 2G devices? Those were launched in the first decade of the 21st century, that is in the early of 21st century, in 2001 and 2002, where we had those large size and very bulky mobiles, which has very limited processing capacity. Of course not, right? So the same way, whenever you are designing or whenever you are modifying the protocols and making its newer version, you have to ensure that there are still some people who are using the old devices, so that your modification should also support the old devices also. So that is what it means, backward compatibility. So this is another challenge that is typically faced by the designing protocols, that should work not only with the newer system, but they should also work with the older system. So suppose you design a protocol and you know how you are going to measure it, that this protocol is indeed reaches the intended goal. So for this, you make the use of metrics, and that is what our next point of discussion. So there are many metrics which are custom fit based on what you intend to measure and based on the protocol. But these are some of the popular metrics which we are going to see in the next slide. Okay. So what are the popular metrics? Throughput, latency, and loss, or it is also called as the energy consumption. These are some, one of the or few of the popular metrics which is used to measure your protocol. Okay, the quality of your protocol, whether your protocol indeed reaches the intended goal or not. How do I measure it? So by using this metric, I will measure whether the protocol has achieved its specific goals or not. So throughput, latency, energy consumption. So often these metrics are plotted. You can plot them, and you can measure whether the protocol is achieve its specific goal or not. For example, you design a protocol and you are measuring the throughput, and you measured how the throughput of the protocol is varying as you increase the number of nodes. For example, I will show it here. Let me take the pen. Okay, I have to increase its size. Give me a moment. Okay, so you can plot your metrics, popular metrics on X and Y axis. So this Y axis, it represents my throughput, and X axis, it represents my protocol. So now, as more and more users are added across the X axis, let's say that first 10 users, and then 20 users, and then 30 users, and so on. So you are going to see how your protocol behaves, or how your protocol deals with these increasing numbers, or with this scaling number of users when they are added to the network, how protocol responds to the network. Okay. So another metric that you can use would be how your throughput function of energy consumption, how your throughput function, it responds to the energy consumption, or how the delay varies as the number of hops are increased. Hops, I mean when packet is routed from one machine to another machine, that is measured as in terms of hop. Hop is the unit, okay, to measure the delay between source and destination, right? So how the delay varies as the number of hops are increased between source and destination. So let me cover a few of these metrics in a little bit more detail, since we are going to use them as a part of this course. So throughput is a very popular metric. It's a unit. Its unit is megabits per second or kilobits per second. Sometimes it is also expressed as Mbps. Okay. So here M stands for mega, capital B stands for bytes, and PS stands for per second. In case of kilobits per kbps, K stands for kilo, B stands for bytes, and PS stands for per second. So in this case, it is megabyte per second. Now, if someone says they have 1 Mbps connection, then this is the throughput they are getting. What they typically mean is they are able to transfer or receive 10 to the power 6 bits data in 1 second. Remember, when someone says that I have a 1 Mbps internet connection, then this is the throughput actually that they are getting. What they typically mean? They are able to transfer, they mean that they are able to transfer or receive 10 to the power 6 bits per second, per 10 to the power 6 bits data per second or in 1 second. So the throughput is also called as the bandwidth. Bandwidth, by the way, has two meanings. One meaning is this throughput has defined here, and the another meaning is related to the spectrum. So in which case, when the bandwidth is used in the context of spectrum, then its unit are in hertz, or its unit, the unit which is measured, which is used to measure the bandwidth in the context of spectrum are called as hertz. Okay, 900 megahertz frequency, 900 kilohertz frequency, 1800 megahertz frequency. So what we are doing, we are measuring the bandwidth, but it is now in the context of spectrum. Spectrum, you know that there is a wireless spectrum. Different frequencies range have been given in the wireless band, frequency band. There is basically a wireless frequency band, and each device comes under some specific category. Okay, so from 0 hertz to 900 megahertz has one band, then 900 megahertz onward has another band, and so on. So now you are using 4G mobiles. What is the frequency band of the 4G mobiles? 2 gigahertz. So 1800 megahertz to 4 gigahertz. Sorry, 2 gigahertz, 2.0 gigahertz is the band of Holte network, or you can call it as a LTE network or the 4G networks. Okay, so whenever you are measuring the bandwidth in the context of spectrum, then the unit used to measure the bandwidth is the hertz. So you need to distinguish whether you mean Mbps as hertz based on the context. That is the direct relation between these two, which we'll cover later. So throughput is also at times called as data rate. So one thing I need to emphasize here is throughput is measured in a different way. So it depends on what exactly you want to measure. Now that's the thing we are going to see in the next part of this lecture. I know that we are running late, but I need 5 minutes more to cover this throughput, latency, and loss. Okay, let me take a pen, and then I will explain you how do we calculate the throughput. Let's say that this is my host A, and this is the host B. The host B, A and B, they are connected using this link, physical media, that is wired cable. And yes, of course, who connects them? So they are connected by the internet, same like as we are connecting with each other through the Google Meet application. Right now, I want to, this is host B and this is host A. Please spare my drawing. I am not good at drawing, so please spare my drawing. Okay, so now let us say that the host A has sent some data to host B. So host B, it receives the first bit at 1 second. Okay, and host B receives the last bit of the data. Let's say that at second. Okay, and the host A, it has started the transmission of the data at, let's say, 0 second. Now we are supposed to calculate the throughput. How do we calculate the throughput? So as I mentioned, there are different ways of calculating the throughput. So I will calculate this throughput as a transfer throughput. So the amount of time that it takes, the host A takes to send the data from machine A to machine B till the destination machine B receives the last bit. This time takes to transmit the data from 0 seconds to 2 seconds is called as basically transmission throughput. And the formula which is used to calculate the transmission throughput is the amount of data divided by the time took to transmit the data from A to B. Now in this case, all of you will tell me the answer. Now we are going to calculate this. Now let's say that the amount of data that we have transferred is 10 to the power 6 into 8 bits. And how much time is required to transmit the data? That the last bit is received on the destination side. Can anybody tell me? Can anybody tell me? Am I audible to all?
Yes, sir.
So please tell me how much time is required or how much time it took to send the data from machine A to machine B. At what time machine B receives the last bit? Yes, anybody? At what time the machine B or the destination or the receiver B receives the last bit?
2 seconds.
Exactly right. So why you require so much time to answer this? Everything is given in this figure. Don't you understood what I am explaining? This part is not understood to you. Let me take the ink, different ink. Don't you understood this part? Please tell me yes or no.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Machine A wants to or has prepared some message to machine B. Machine A started the transmission of the message M1 or simply M at 0 seconds, whereas the message on the destination side or B receives the first bit of this message M at first second and the last bit of this message M at second. Okay, so that means the overall time required by the machine A to transmit the full data, all the bits to the machine B is 2 seconds. So 10 to the power 6 into 8 is the amount of data that we have transferred from machine A to machine B divided by the time A took to transmit the entire full data is 2 seconds. So what is the throughput? So 10 to the power 6 into 8 divided by 2. So that means the throughput is basically 4 Mbps. Okay, understood. The throughput or the bandwidth that is required or the bandwidth that A has got to transmit the data from machine A to machine B is 4 Mbps. Understood. So this is basically the transfer throughput. Now we'll take the same scenario and now we'll see the reverse or receiving throughput. So receiver's throughput. Let me take a pen so that I can. So how do we calculate the receiving throughput? So the receiving throughput is calculated again as the amount of data divided by the time took to receive the first bit at receiver end. Now, can we find out what is the amount of data that we are transmitting from machine A? It is 10 to the power 6 into 8 bits. And how much time is required, or how much time that machine A requires to transmit the first bit from A to B? Can anybody tell me?
1 second.
So it is only 1 second. So that means the total throughput that we have obtained is 8 megabits per second. So throughput is calculated in two ways. Either you can calculate it as the amount of data rate that you have transmitted, or the amount of bandwidth that host will be get allocated. Okay, so Mbps. So capital M here, it stands for mega, capital B stands for bytes, and PS stands for per second. So that's all from so we have seen the two ways of calculating the throughput. One is the transmission throughput, and other is the receiving throughput. Okay, then we'll go to the last, the second last metric, that is latency. Now the time that is required to transmit the full data from machine A to machine B is called as the latency, or it is also called as a delay time. The amount of time requires, or the time which is required to transmit the data M, or the message M, from source A to destination B is called as the latency, or you will also call it as a delay. Then comes what is the loss or the energy consumption, right? So when you are transmitting the data from machine A to machine B, okay, let me go back and explain you. So when you are sending some data from host A to host B, so maybe your packet transmission will take different forms. It will have the different choice. So based on the routing table, it optimizes the path, right? Let's say that your packet has went through this switch 1, then it went to switch 2, and then it went to router 1, then it went to again switch 2 of this B's network. Then it will then it has transferred to switch 1, and switch 1 of B's network forwarded that packet to the B. So you can see that there are so many intermediate machine, and this packet, the message which is hop from this, or this message is received and forwarded from this different intermediate machine. So maybe during this transmission, the data of the message may get lost. So let's say that you have transmitted 10 messages. Message M1, sorry, let me take a eraser. Okay, let's say that you have prepared, A has prepared a message, and the network has converted this message MM into 10 packets, that is M1 to M10. So it is the standard, or it is ideally expected that when A sends message M, which converts, or where the network converts the message M into 10 different packets, then there is a probability that 0.1% packets will get lost or will get corrupted during the transmission of message from A to B, host A to host B. Okay, so that means 10%, this is a 0.1, or either, or you can say that 10% of packets of overall packet will get lost during the transmission of message. Why? Because due to the signal strain, maybe this switch S2 is fail, and after restarting this switch 2, the switch 2 has only discovered the 9 packets, and it has not able to recover or discover the 10 packets, so he has forwarded only 9 packets, and then Arvar forward that 9 packet to S2 of B's network, and S2 forwarded to the host B via switch 1. So during this intermediate transmission of the message, some message packet may get lost. Okay, and that's what we can say, that out of this 10 packets of the message yum, only 9 packets have been delivered to the host B. So that is actually basically the loss metric. So where we are measuring that what is the loss of message or what is the loss of data during the transmission of message or during the transmission of data. So what we have seen, so we have understood as a let us summarize what we have seen. So we have seen the goals of computer network. We have seen how we design the hardware and protocol, what are the do's and don'ts when we are designing the hardware or when you are designing the software as a part of protocol. And then we have seen how to reach the goal, what are the challenges to achieve our specific goals. And then we have seen how do we measure the efficiency of our computer network by using different metrics such as the throughput, latency, loss, or energy consumption. So that's all from my end. These are some references I have used. So thanks a lot for patiently listening. And I believe that from this lecture onwards, you are going to use your college email ID. So join the Google Meet. So I'll tell you what you're supposed to do. What I am doing, that I will tell you. So I'll just stop sharing and I will share my screen so that you will understand it. My screen is visible to everyone. Please tell me. Is it visible to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what do you have to do? Go to the Gmail.
Yes,
login.
sir.
Okay. Log in with your college email ID. Okay. Log in with your college email ID. Click on this 9 dots. This is actually the store, application store of your Google different applications, Google's different application. You can see here Meet. If it is not visible to you, go to calendar. Okay. And simply join the Meet. Okay. But please ensure that you have logged into your Gmail account. This is one way you can do. The other way is you can log into your Gmail account using your college email ID. Okay. Then open the new tab. Click on Google. Click type in search bar that Google Meet. Okay. And click here. And simply to join or start the meeting, you can click here. And you're supposed to write the link code that I have given on the WhatsApp group. Type that link code here and click continue. Before you get before you press on continue, please ensure that the code that you have written in this field is right. After writing the code, just click on continue and you will be connected to the Google Meet. Okay, so that's it. Thanks for patiently listening. I hope, is there any problem in understanding how to connect to Google Meet using college email ID? Is there any doubt? Someone is saying that your voice is not audible, sir. Now I am audible. Okay, again, few students are saying they have not understood how to join. I repeat it again. You open your Gmail. I'll select the other browser. So give me a moment. I do not have other browser.
No doubt बोलले sir ते.
Acha, they are saying no doubt. Okay, no problem. Okay, great. In that case, I will stop and we'll see you in the tomorrow's lecture. So from tomorrow onwards, so far what we have seen is just the introduction to the computer network. From tomorrow onwards, I will start the syllabus topics. Yet the authenticated syllabus is not received, but whatever tentative points that we have received during the FDP's faculty development programs, I will start with those points. Okay, thanks all. You can end this meeting now.
Thank you, sir.
And please don't forget to give me your feedback. You can give your feedback here in the chat box or maybe on the WhatsApp group. No problem.